If I could choose, I would love to be with Red Bull, but obviously if there's no seat there, my goal is Formula One, so that could be anywhere.
Liam Lawson, we're sat here in a room in London. Why are we sat here in a room in London? Well, the new Formula One game is out. It's a kind of magic moment for everyone every year. Have you been playing this game for years before you even became a professional driver?
Yeah, honestly, yes. We were just saying I basically played pretty much all the games since they sort of started. Well, for me, the first one was 2010. So I was 8 years old when the game came out, and that was basically my first time playing the Formula One games, and I basically played all of them since then.
Dare I ask who you played as?
I was Red Bull. I was a Lewis Hamilton. He was my hero when I was very, very young. But when I started playing the F1 games and started to get into Formula One, I always actually liked Red Bull. I liked the cars. I just think that they looked cool. That's why I would drive as them. So yeah, and obviously they were the sort of dominant team of that era as well.
When we look at the ratings in the game, Lewis Hamilton, I think I spotted he's an 89 now. He's dropped a little bit. Is that fair?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Max is a 96, just to give you some idea.
I think it's fair, to be honest. Yeah, I think it's fair. I think Max right now is in a very, very strong. Obviously, the team's very, very strong and have been for the last couple of years. But Max is also driving at a level that's very, very high. Not that Lewis isn't. I fully believe that he's still obviously very, very competitive. But yeah. I don't know. It's really hard to tell because in Formula One, you can only compare to your teammates, honestly. Yeah, it's really hard to compare team to team. You can really only compare with the guy that's in the same car as you.
What would you want your rating to be? 100. Bearing in mind, Daniel's 82, Yuki's 81. We've already said Lewis is an 89 and Max is a 96.
100.
What? Straight up?
Yeah.
What's your
No,
reasoning?
I wouldn't expect it to be 100. Obviously,
we
would all like it to be 100, but
sure.
I have no idea. I've done 5 races, so it's hard to tell. I need more time in a Formula One seat.
So looking back at those 5 races, they were pretty successful 5 races for you, having been thrown in at the deep end. I know as a reserve driver, you know that you're going to get called on potentially, but to do so well, does it seem like a sort of whirlwind? Do you have time to stop when you're doing those 5 races and enjoy the moment, or is it just so intense that now looking back, it's like, whoa? Yeah,
not at all, honestly. At the time, it was, I think, 2.5 months. Was the total sort of span over all those races, and it felt like nothing, and it went by extremely fast. So to be honest, I didn't really have much time to enjoy it, and then obviously before I knew it was over, and then I'm in the sort of position I was before where I'm trying to get a full-time seat again. So yeah, a very cool opportunity, something that's obviously we work towards as drivers our whole career, but for me now it's about trying to make that happen full-time.
It feels like there's been a little bit of support for Yuki Tsunoda, Daniel Ricciardo in the last few days or so. You know, you can go online, you can read articles saying that people are happy within the organisation with their performances. Does someone take you aside and sort of be really honest with you about that kind of thing? Because obviously, there's no secret that you're there and you want to get a seat. And in a way, to get a seat, you have to hope that someone either underperforms or can't drive, which is a kind of horrible way to get a job promotion, if that makes sense. But does someone sort of manage your expectations within the organisation?
It's always been talked about. And Formula One is something that every weekend, everything changes. Everything is changing very, very quickly. So weekend to weekend stuff is very, very different. So it's talked about a lot, and it's being managed. And obviously I'm always trying to work on and find out where exactly I'm sitting within the team for my future. So yeah, it's something that's honestly it's just changing all the time. And as you say, it's not. I don't want to be in Formula One because somebody's injured. I want to be in Formula One because a team chooses me to be there full time.
We've already touched on Max Verstappen being the leading driver in this game, which I think we can all agree is well justified. He does come under a lot of pressure and a lot of casual hatred. It's not real hatred, but it's just like, Michael Schumacher had it, Sebastian Vettel had it, Lewis Hamilton had it. When you are too good and you're dominating your sport, there's a lot of people that want to see their favourite driver maybe get a win now and again. Do you think how, from your perspective, as being someone that does spend a bit of time with him, how does he deal with that? Or does he not deal with it? Does he not bother? Is it water off a duck's back?
I think he managed it very, very well. I think Max is pretty clear that he's not too fussed about what people think. I think it would be it'd be a pretty cool position to be in to win so much that you're hated for it. So yeah, I think it's something that he's not worried about, and I mean, he has a huge support fan base anyway, outside of the people that maybe don't like him so much. So he's got nothing to worry about.
I know you've said before that he's been very supportive to you in your career so far. What kind of things has he been helping with?
It was really when I stepped in the car last year. He was obviously there. So the way the driver rooms work within Red Bull is they're all sort of in this energy station, and they're all in the same area. So Max was right next to my room. And before the race in Sandboard, obviously I was pretty stressed about going in. And he just came into my room and was sort of pretty open and said to remember to enjoy it. That it's a big sort of achievement. And it's more that sort of stuff, not so much like driving related. Here's how you go faster. Here it was always more mental stuff where obviously he's a very mentally strong driver, probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest. He's not phased really about anything. So he was somebody that was pretty good to talk to when I stepped into a high pressure situation. I
know Charles was also pretty supportive when you were jumping in that car back then. You must have felt some happiness for him to finally win in Monaco.
Yeah, honestly, yes. It was really, really cool for him to win a home Grand Prix. Obviously, that's every driver's dream. Unfortunately, we don't have one.
Well, this is my next question. I was going to say, obviously, there's not the New Zealand Formula One Grand Prix at the moment, which is a real shame. So what would be your one if you could step in and win a race and it sort of be the one race you want to win? Would it be Melbourne, or is there a bit of rivalry between Australia and New Zealand?
There's rivalry between New Zealand and Australia when you're in our countries, if you're in New Zealand or in Australia. But then when you go global and you go around to the rest of the world, if you see an Australian, you're actually kind of close. It's a bit different. So I think Australia would be the closest to it. Yeah, that would be the home sort of Grand Prix, I would say.
My final question is probably quite a tough one, and I hope you're going to give me a good answer. How are we going to see Liam Lawson driving in F1 in 2025?
Right, if I had the answer to that, then I'd probably be in the car right now. So I have no idea. Obviously, it's as you said before, everything's changing at the moment. There's a lot of drivers moving around. So at the moment, I don't really know where I slot into that, and if I do at all. But it's something that I'm working towards every single day at the moment.
You've been with Red Bull since 2019?
Yeah.
If there's an opportunity elsewhere, is there an option for you to step away?
Honestly, at the end of the day, obviously, I would love to be with Red Bull in Formula One. They're the strongest team at the moment. And as you said, I've been with them now this is my 6th year with Red Bull. So if I could choose, I would love to be with Red Bull. But obviously, if there's no seat there, my goal is Formula One. So that could be anywhere.